So this is the episode, huh? The dark, grim, controversial episode of Invader Zim? Well, let's tackle it. Also plug in my amino. So before starting this review, I do want to say that this was inspired based off of an amino challenge that I did. Back in September, I had a challenge called If I Were an Urkin. The challenge was simple. If you wanted to take over the world as an Urkin, what would you do? I want to give a big shout out and thank you to the winners, Kishiro Kargis and Sinchi and Atdu. Both posts were a great read, and I hope with the next amino challenge that more people participate. And if you want to check out the amino, there will be a link in the description and pinned comment. So quite a bit of people were confused or upset that I didn't cover Dark Harvest in my Invader Zim Rise and Fall, and that's completely fair, because this is a significant episode in the series. I hope to rectify that with this video here, covering it in its own separate video. A random kid has what appears to be a toy bunny, jarred in a pink liquid, a subtle symbol that represents the way certain items will be collected within this episode. Fun fact, this is Filler Bunny, a character created by Jonin, which was served to be what it sounds like, filler.
My organs! Inferior human organs! Oh, my squeedly spooch!
What a pleasant start to this episode. No, really. The music starts off very pleasant, showing kids playing, and in an out-of-universe sense, a pretty good joke. For Invader Zim standards, this is pretty bright. It's a common thing in dark episodes to start off pretty bright, whether it's supposed to throw you off your guard or serve as a contrast to give the perception of a bigger mood switch, depends on the context of this technique. Dib, who has nothing better to do, notices Zim's every action and wonders what organs he has in his body.
It's no human organ. Humans don't have squeedly spooches.
I've got a squeedly spooch.
Well, buddy, I can tell you that you and Gaz don't share all of the same organs. However, I'm not a doctor, so that's all I'll say on the matter. Dib gets an X-scope and confirms the suspicions that Zim doesn't have any organs that he knows, which when Zim catches a very easily catchable disease called head pigeon, Dib lets Zim knows that he's going to enjoy the process of Zim being sliced open to figure out what all of these alien organs are. Miss Bitters lets Zim go to the nurse, but not without a hall pass, to which Miss Bitters says,
"If you leave school grounds, it will explode."
Which is reminiscent of The Running Man, where inmates are kept in a prison with the collar around their neck, which will explode if they attempt to leave. Jonin actually pays homage to a few things, which we'll see prominently later on. We see Zim march towards the nurse, past common classes you'd have in school such as biology, physics, and taxidermy? I also love how detention is just a seemingly endless long dark hallway. Before stopping by the nurse, Zim takes a curious peek into the biology class, noting how humans look on the inside, and how with the proper x-ray, he'd be exposed pretty quickly. It shows to the audience that Zim is at least moved by Dib's observation, which gives Dib some credibility. Some. After a weird confrontation with the hall monitor, we are introduced to this organ swapper machine that Zim just casually has in his book bag, or is it backpack? The swapping of organs leaves humans with this greenish tint, not being able to perform more than the basic bare activities, if even that. Most kids, when their organs are swapped in this episode, aren't able to talk, but can walk decently. This is where the episode gets raised to about an 8, we're not at peak creepiness yet. The episode goes through great lengths to show you the inside of children's bodies, and all of the squishy organs that you'll ever need to see. This shot of going into the kid's belly button to find said hall pass gives the specific need to have the hall monitor confront Zim an extra level of legitimacy, as it serves as a full circle to his character within the story. Dib, who wishes to check up on Zim, finds out that he never went to the nurse, instead finding a boy with no liver. The adults in Invader Zim are very unsuspecting, opting to sweep whatever worries they have under the rug, and hope the next person fixes it. You may have also noticed that we stopped seeing Zim, even before he stole his first organ. The episode does a great job building up the suspense of seeing the final product of Zim's organ stealing adventure, and that level of anticipation is not lost on me. In great storytelling fashion, that same organ swapping mechanism is seen replacing this poor lady's brain with a can of poop, which removes her ability to speak and makes her foam at the mouth. Zim, via vents, would slowly go throughout the school, getting all the organs that he thinks he needs and replacing them with items throughout the school. It kind of sounds creepy when read aloud like that, but the part that makes it very creepy, even for Invader Zim, is that the episode doesn't shy away from showing you exactly what Zim has, exactly what Zim is replacing, and the way these victims looked and act after having their organs removed. It actually has Invasion of the Body Snatchers sort of vibes to me. Dib gazes at the horror. A school cafeteria. Oh yeah, and the fact that all these kids are severely ill. If you ask me whether I'd want my pancreas removed or to eat mayonnaise and corn, just yeet my pancreas. Did I mention that this episode is dark? Well, this episode is dark, literally. A clever trick when it comes to shades. When Dib observes the items replacing the organs of the children around them, the replacements are usually very light in color, making them very easy to see and distinguish, as each scene is short.
That's it, Zim! This has to stop!
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
We finally get to see Zim, and this is where the episode gets to be a bit much. As Zim talks, it's clear that the voice actor is speaking from the perspective of your mouth being full, which leads me to believe that Zim is literally overflowing with organs. His mouth is continuously going to be messy, which I don't even want to know what those liquids are supposed to represent, and sometimes when he speaks, organs pop out of him. I think even for our standards today, this is very dark and gross. I know now some of the material and themes expressed here are not really all that bad to show kids, but some of this, even if it came out now, I would think it'd be way too far for a network that also has SpongeBob and The Loud House. On the whole, examining Zim's character, there is something quirky to Zim. Getting all of these organs under the assumption of having more organs meaning that he's more human. It's akin to signing a permission slip on behalf of your parents, but going over the top and trying to dress like them to deliver it, or thinking that being strong means having big, unmanageable muscles that actually undermine the purpose of strength. It just seems like the type of thing a child would do when they don't understand the concept of moderation. After realizing that he doesn't have lungs, Zim goes on a manhunt, or more of a lung hunt, taking the one last healthy person that isn't Dib, right when he lets his guard down after promising to protect him. Take note on how when Dib is the last one left, the episode really lets that sink in.
Come on, man, talk to me! Let me know you're still here!
This is when the episode's comedy is gone, and it's 100% horror, which fits the story here. Dib is hearing this cooing sound, alongside other organs and tanks, an open vent, and a lone dumbbell, which indicates that not only that torque guy is gone, but Zim is not done with his pursuit. You can see that the music ramps up here, being very energetic in that Invader Zim style, having a lot of strings implemented in his composition. The colors would change in the boiler room, having tons of reds, and even one of those shots where Dib stays the same size, but the field of view changes, also known as a dolly shot. I love the attention to detail here. Although Dib would run and run, it's only a matter of time before Zim catches up. The episode would end with Zim being called perfectly healthy, with such plentiful organs, and Dib being the one who's ostracized as the weird alien kid, because Zim replaced Dib's lungs with whatever makes a cow sound in this episode. Aside from the poster behind him that says so casually, "We need your blood," it actually leads to Dib being highly publicized, making the headlines of newspapers across the nation, titled, "Hideous Mooing Cyborg Boy Found." This is a very dark episode, and many people may think that it's perfectly fine, but for a young kid in the early 2000s, this is very far. Billy and Mandy would have found a way to drown a lot of this with comedy. Courage the Cowardly Dog would try to incorporate some other emotions within the show. Invader Zim would much rather keep it creepy, and while there's a ton of episodes where this worked, this is an episode where I think it went too far. Quality-wise, it's an entertaining episode, which is even more interesting in hindsight. However, hot take, I probably wouldn't go back to this specific episode too often, even if it weren't for the controversy aspect. There are much better Zim episodes, and Dark Harvest is just that, a dark harvest. Big thanks to the supporters of November, and if you want more Zim, please check out my Rise and Fall on it, here. Until then, take care. Alpha out.